All right, everybody. Welcome. We have officially returned, and I am extremely excited. You know where you are. You are in the place to be. Empowered with Shronda, mind, body, and spirit. And guess what? This season, we're coming jam packed with a brand new season, a brand new theme that's going to help you go out, obtain your goals, and be inspired to take your life to the next level, right? As you all may know, this is season 2 of Empowered with Shronda, right? It has been a break. There's been some absolutely amazing things going on since that break, but we are back. We are revamped. We are inspired. And guess what? We are now a part of a podcast network. This thing is just getting crazy. Dropping Knowledge Network. I've posted it on my page. Be sure to follow that because that network is going to be bringing you so much information that's going to allow you to go out, inspire, and obtain your goals. Our goal for this network is to empower you. Our goal for this network is to give you key information. We are, in fact, in an information age. One of the things that keeps us from going where we want to go and doing what we want to do is information. And there are so many people that look like us, talk like us, walk like us, giving us free game to teach us how to obtain our goals. I'm extremely excited to be here. Season 2 has an amazing lineup of guests with so many different backgrounds. You know, whether you're a woman looking to be inspired or finding your purpose, or a guy who is looking to take his power, this is going to be the place that you want to be every single Wednesday night at 7 p.m. Don't forget to comment, share this video, make sure to spread the word because we are talking about doing some amazing things. That is enough about me. We want to jump into things. The 45 minutes always goes by so fast. And I cannot wait to introduce to you our special guest tonight. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the intentional woman. And fellas, don't worry, don't click away, because this young lady is going to be talking about how she went from living a nightmare to a dream life, right? Certified life coach, TEDTalk speaker, author, better known as the Dream Queen. We have the amazing Brandy Bonner on tonight's show, where she's going to tell us how no matter where you started, no matter where you've been, how you can take your life and turn it into greatness. Again, I promise you that you are in store for some absolute amazing information, being able to share and empower other people's lives. I am going to get with it, and we are going to bring the amazing Miss Brandy up. I am super excited. Hey, Brandy, how are
Hey
you? How are
everybody.
you?
I am awesome. How are you
I
today?
am doing absolutely amazing now that I got
Yes.
the series back up, running, and going. I've been looking forward to it, but I've been looking forward to talking to you even more. So, thank you so much for being a guest on tonight's show. I gave them a really quick snippet of who you are. You know, I told them you're a life coach, author, but this is your opportunity to give them that real life introduction. Who is Brandy and what do you want the audience to know about you?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brandy Bonner, aka the Dream Queen, aka the Intentional Woman. I am excited to be here with you tonight. This is what I do. This is the moment that I live for, to be able to come on and share with people just how I went from living a nightmare to living my dream life. Now, is every day a dream life? Nope. But every day I have the choice to make it a dream life. And those are the tips that I'm going to be sharing with you tonight. I'm excited to be here with Sharonda. I met her online, and I am excited just about being able to drop some diamonds tonight and make sure that you can go out and live the life of your dreams. So, yes, I am a TED Talk speaker. I am an international best-selling author. Yep, that's me, international best-selling author. I graced the TED stage about 2 years ago, And I am a life coach. In fact, I'm an empowerment coach. That's what I do is I empower women to live the life of their dreams. I empower women to figure out what they really want, because that's the first question. What is it? I'm not going to get too far ahead of myself, but that's the first question is what do we really want? So I help women figure out what they really want and become it.
Listen, honey, I know that a lot of us can look forward to maybe talking to you because of that. We want to say that that is something easy, but the reality is that we know that it is not always easy to know who you are. So let's start with that, right? You are the intentional woman. You know what? Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's start with that. And then we're going to go backwards and we're going to talk about your story. But since we're talking about that, since we're talking about showing women how to find who they are, first tell us Brandy, how do you find who you are?
Well, the first thing is I find out who I'm not. And who I'm not is who they said I was. And that's not a play on words, but I'm not who they said I was. In this case, I'm not what my mama said. I'm not what my daddy said. I'm not what they said I was, but I'm whatever it is that I say about me. That's who I am. I'm what I say about me. I say that I'm the intentional woman, which means that I do everything on purpose. I do everything with intent. I do everything with a motive and a reason for it. When I get up in the morning, I know I already got my to-do list ready to go. I know what my purpose is and what my intent is. And that's why I'm the intentional woman. I'm the dream queen because I help people figure out, well, you was living a nightmare and how do you make the bridge over to living the life of your dreams? So that's why they call me the dream queen. I specialize in dream board parties, and so that's how I got that name.
That is absolutely amazing. So tell me, Brandy, if I were a woman and I was sitting down with you and I said, listen, I need help trying to figure out who I am. What are some activities, or where would be the first place you and I would start?
Well, the first thing I would start is with a pen and a piece of paper, and I would just start writing. I would start writing about who I think I am, just right now. What are my great qualities? What are my strengths in life? And what's really important is what have I come through? See, that's how I wrote my first book is figuring out what I had come through. After we've been through so many things, sometimes we kind of lose track or we lose the power in it. When you sit down and write about where you've been, then you're like, whoa, man, I am powerful. That's when I figured out I was a shero, when I started writing down all the things that I had survived, all the things that I had come through. So that's your first step is sit down and write about where you come from, what you've been through already. And then after you've done that, then what are your gifts? What are your skills? That's how you figure out who you are. And then you figure out who you want to be. You know what I'm saying? If you figure out who you want to be, then you just declare those things as who you are right now. I'm already successful. I'm already this. I'm already that. Whatever it is that you want to be, you decide that you're that right now. Because you know what? The secret is you really are. We spend this whole life just trying to figure out who we really are, who God made us to be originally. We're just figuring it out. That's all.
You know what? You just said something that was so key. You basically said write down what you've been through as a reminder of the power that you have. Sometimes we can be so busy fighting through the situation that we're not necessarily patting our backs or patting ourselves on the backs for those accomplishments, right? We're thinking it's survival. A lot of it is, right? But we forget the power in it, because when we make it out on the other side of that, we're like, you're not thinking about this is who I am because of that. You're trying to move that thing so far behind you that you forget just how much power you gained from it. So that is very, very strong. So with that being said, Brandy, I know that one of the things that brought us together and one of the things that got you started, as you said, when you've talked about this book, it's a beautiful thing to say, I went from living a nightmare to living a dream of my life. And that is what most people want and they strive for, and they don't know how to get it. Tell me, Brandy, Give us some of your testimony. So first part of this question is, what have been some of the things that you've triumphed over? Where did you start? What does that nightmare look like?
Well, my nightmare started really early. Um, so I was born deaf, and I didn't hear until the age of 1. So, or actually, I didn't hear to the age of 9 months, and so I spent the first part of my life not knowing what was going on. But by the time I started coming to and what was going on, my mother whisked me away from my father in California, and she became a single mother, and I became a girl without a daddy. And then when I was 8 years old, she married all of our nightmares. And our life, my house was rattled with sexual abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse. I was scared all the time. I was fearful all the time. And I just was living a waking nightmare indefinitely. It seemed like I was going to be there forever. And even after I became an adult, and I went away to college, it was um, like I had been thrown up out of the well. You know what I'm saying? Like I had just been fighting for my life, and then I was just present. And when you're just alive, then you just kind of start doing things just to feel good, just to get the feeling back in your body. And so there came drugs and sex and alcohol and all of that, just trying to get the feeling back in my body again, trying to cope with all the trauma that I
Mhm.
hadn't been allowed to cope with because it went on. Everything was going on like right up to the moment. And so I had to be able to just trying to find some coping skills, and dived into a really deep depression. And I'm in college, I should be in class, but I was just sleeping my life away because after I got done drugging and doing all of that, then I just began to just sleep my life away because I was tired.
Mhm.
The nightmare will make you tired.
You were exhausted. You were exhausted. You were exhausted from the fight, and you said
Yes,
something. You were just alive, right? You had
yes,
allowed that story of what you've been through to just be like, I am just here. So
I'm
you
just,
went to college, you took that with you.
yes.
At what point does Brandy wake up from being just alive to actually living?
Well, it was interesting because um, I found a Christian group on campus, and they saw me. I don't know how they saw me, but they saw me, and they started seeing the gifts that were in me, my ability to speak and communicate, but mostly my ability to empathize with other people and my ability to sympathize and to feel. But I could feel so passionately because I had been, in a feeling state like the whole time, like, the state of depression, the state of fear and all of that. So I was very sensitive to how people felt, and that was, I didn't know it was a gift. You know
Mm,
what I'm saying? That was one of the first times that you find out that the tragedy develops a gift in you. And so they began to just develop those skills and those gifts and give me opportunities. I started to travel around different campuses, sharing my testimony. And we went out of town. We went out of the country to Hungary, and I shared my testimony there. And that was the beginning of my healing. To find out that it was worth it. I heard TD Jakes say, uh, "Why? Because you're anointed." It made, when somebody started making sense out of my pain, that's when I started to come out of it.
that's big. That's big, Brandy. And you just said something. They say a lot of the things that we go through. They say you don't go through it for yourself, but you go through it for somebody else because
Yeah,
your testimony can help somebody triumph. And it's
yeah,
interesting to hear that how you came through your testimony is also, using it to help other people is your triumph, right?
yeah,
Simply
yeah.
from helping other people do it. So what does the dream look like now? What is the dream life?
Well, the dream life is doing what I really want to do, which is be able to help people realize that it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter how the life got started. It just matters what you do with it. It matters how you turn it around. And so that's what makes a difference for me. That's what makes my life dreamy is when I wake up in the morning, that's what I'm living for, and I've got a 16-year-old daughter. And
Mm,
so one of the things that triggered my change was I had to homeschool my daughter. I had been with her so long that she was brilliant and I took her to school and she was just kind of already off the chart. So I had to bring her back home. But I wasn't fully healed then. And I looked in the mirror and I said, I do not want my daughter to grow up with an angry, depressed mother. And so that's when the real change started happening. Is when I realized I needed to homeschool my daughter and I wanted to show her a different way. I wanted her to show her that life could be good, that you could choose, you could make your own choices, that you could choose to live a good life no matter what the circumstances are. And boy, is that lesson important right here in the middle of a pandemic when everything is going to hell in a handbasket.
mhm.
You need some coping skills. I know everybody agrees that this is the time that you pull out all the stops, all the coping skills. You be like, what was I gonna do? With some of the stuff you was gonna do, you found out you might not can't do it in the middle of a pandemic. So you start
Mhm.
shifting and you start pivoting and you start trying to find your way. But you know that if you don't find your way, you could drown in all of this. You could die in all of this. And I don't mean physically. I mean, you could die an emotional death. And so it's
Mhm.
important that we pull out all of those skills and we start saying, what makes me happy? What gives me a reason when I can't go outside? What gives me a reason still to get up in the morning? How can I still fulfill my purpose in life, even though we supposedly walk locked behind these doors? So this is an important moment to be discovering your truth, to be discovering who you really are, to be discovering what you were called to do. This is one of the most priceless moments that we may ever come across in our lifetime.
And basically you're telling us, I feel like I introduced season one, and season one we were in the middle of pandemic, and I
Mm,
remember saying over and over in that season, don't leave out of whatever this is we're in the middle of the
yes,
same person that went into it, right?
yes, yes,
um Being intentional about who we want to be and who we are.
yes,
So Brandy has lived this life, literally a life of a nightmare. We can't really help who and what we're born into,
yes.
but we do control what we grow into, right?
Amen. Yeah,
Too many people use their background or where they came
yes,
from as an excuse. You
yes,
have the power. So Brandy is in the better life. Brandy has her daughter. She's living up the life of her dreams. What are some actions that you can say, outside of, really sitting down and writing what you went through? And you even said that you were still in a place where you were healing. What are some actions that you would want to share with our viewers today, that if they are now home and they're in an unhappy space, what are some actions that they can take to try to start to heal within themselves?
that is an excellent question. So, the first thing that I would say that you need to do is that you have to take responsibility for your own life. It's the most important thing. It's the most powerful thing you could do. It's to take back your power from the abuser, from the molester, from the past. You take back your power and you say, I am now captain of my ship. I am now responsible for what happens to me. I am now responsible for my success and my failures, not them. They don't have power over me no more. That's done and that's over with. So that's number one. The most
Mm-hmm.
important step is to take responsibility for your own self. And I made some notes because I want to make sure that I give you, I don't just fly off at the mouth, but I want to make sure that when you leave listening to us, that you got some diamonds to go home with and build with. So, but you want to make sure that you take control over your life, that you now are the captain of your own ship,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and that you stop blaming your past and everyone in it, and you take control over your own destiny. It's not easy, but it's necessary, okay? And Another thing is that then you have to start, and then I went through personal development. I started studying Tony Robbins, just all of the greats. I just started taking in that personal development because it's necessary. The second thing is you got to get rid of the lies that they told you, and you start telling yourself like you're worthless, you're not good for nothing, you don't have no skills, you're ugly, you're too short, you're too fat, you're too black, you're too this, you're too that, your teeth messed up. They just start saying all
They
these
will
things
tear
and
you
then
up, won't they, girl?
just
They will tear
destroy
you up.
you. So you start trying to be successful. You be like, what's wrong? What's happening? Check your mind. Check your headspace because they got in there. They start writing on your they start writing on the mind of your wall as soon as you're born.
Mm-hmm.
When you take a girl away from her father, you tell her that she's worthless. You tell her that she's nothing, that no man will ever love her. So you start writing immediately on the wall of a boy or a girl, no matter what the writing is. And so
Mm-hmm.
you got to go back and you got to examine. You got to just start taking down the covers, peeling it all back, and seeing what are the lies that I tell myself every day. And you know how you're telling yourself a lie, a bad lie, is that you feel bad. Every time you think this thought, tears well up in your eyes. Every time you think this thought, your heart starts palpitating or you start sweating. You're like, what am I thinking about? And so
Mm-hmm.
then you go, you get your paper. You need to keep a notebook for this piece right here. I had a flip chart, no lie. I had a flip chart
Okay.
on the wall when I did this. I wrote down lies and truths. And so when things would come up that were blocking me and were causing me pain and causing me not to move forward in my success, I'd write that lie down and then I'd write a truth. So maybe the truth wasn't the truth yet. I am successful. Well, maybe the truth was I was still in deep debt and all of these things, but I am successful. I am more than enough. I have everything I need to make it. I'm living the life of my dreams, and yet I was still trying to come out of my nightmare. You know what I'm saying? But the lie truth is a declaration. That's what that chart is, a declaration. And we talk about getting rid of the limiting beliefs. That's the next problem that happens. If you got these limiting beliefs, I figured out I had limiting beliefs about my money. I felt like I just needed enough. Now I know that's a whole nother story. I saw you light up, girl. That's a whole different conversation. But when you when you think to yourself that you don't deserve to have a lot and you don't want to, you don't deserve to go on those fancy trips. That's too much. And the love of money is the root of all evil. So therefore, you think money is evil, and you got all these crazy things going on, and you wonder why you're living from paycheck to paycheck. You wonder why, like every time you get a dime, you got to spend at least eight of the cent because you got
Listen.
some limited beliefs. And we can cover that in a thousand different ways. Get your paper out and get to writing because you know what? You can get a therapist to help you, and I support therapy. If you can get a therapist to help you or a coach, I can help you. You
Support.
know, sure, whatever you you need to get. You might need to get some help with this, depending on how much baggage you got to work through. Because
Yes.
I had a counselor for 3 years, so and sometimes I call up a coach every now and then, be like, I need you to get me through this dark space right here, help me get out to the light. So I encourage you to get you a coach, get you a counselor, whatever, if you have mental health issues. That's real talk right there. I got off on a tangent right there. Somebody must have needed to
You
know.
doing real good, and I promise you, I'm sharing the comments. Nobody's on the other side of saying you're going off on a tangent because you were definitely dropping jewels. I asked you, how can somebody come out of their rut? And I promise you, you just gave us real life things of exactly how
Okay.
we can come
Okay.
out of that rut. I don't know if you have more on your list. We're
Just
loving it. It's
yeah.
you.
Okay. I got just a couple of more to make
Okay,
sure
let's
that they
go.
get what they
Let's
need.
go.
Okay. So you make sure you get a hold of your limiting beliefs and your
Mhm.
lies. Get a hold of them, and you're gonna have some forever till you pass away. So you're gonna keep, but you need to get in the habit of figuring out what's going on in your head so that you can correct it, so that you can make a new tape, so you can make a new recorder. So when you get up in the morning, before you even put your makeup on, you say, "Girl, I am fine. I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am successful. People talk about affirmations, and some people don't like affirmations. They're like, oh, that's flaky. Well, talk to somebody who use them and talk to them about their success. And then
Mhm.
talk to somebody who don't use them and talk
Mhm.
about how they might be struggling a bit. Okay. So I'm a firm believer in affirmations and the law of truth exercise. So after you get through that, then you got to figure out what you really want. That's the next step. What do you really want? And do you know what? Nobody ever asked us, Sharonda, what do we really want? The truth is that nobody really cares. Now, you might get you a spouse who cares, and you gotta get you some kids who care. But the truth is, before them, don't nobody really care what you want. The employer wants you to work for them, fake it till you make it. I see you. The employer wants you to work for them.
Look at the face.
Uh,
Yes.
the uh, the teacher wants you to do what they said do. The pastor wants you to do what he said do. Everybody, all they want is what they want from you.
Mhm.
But if you just get in your closet and say, what do I want from me? What do I want out of this life? What's the good life for me? What's the dream life for me? And see, what's the dream life for me might be different than what's the dream life for you. See, I need to travel. I need to have luxurious accommodations. I need to be fancy and fabulous at all times. But that's me. That's my thing. Okay. So whatever your thing is, you need to figure out what that is. And so I say that you should do, I take this from Jack Canfield, you should do the 101 wish list.
The
And when you do
101 wish list.
the
Okay.
101 wish list, and I have that in my book. I go through everything I'm telling you today. I do put it in my book. I'm not promoting, but I tell you for real, all the diamonds I dropped for you today, you can find them in my book, The Intentional Woman, Arthur. So when you do that, when you make your 101 wish list, you figure out what you really want, stuff you hadn't even thought about, because you might get to 10 and be like, man, that's about all I can think of. But you got 99 more, that you got to figure out. You got 90 more things. And so by the time you get through that, you've got a good working list of how to make your dream life. And then you know what happens? Then after you done figured that out, you done dreamed it, then you got to get your dream board going. See, I got a big old dream board right here. I got
Mm-hmm.
one for my business. I got one for my health. I got one for my body. I got one for everything. I got a picture of a woman up here, how I want my body to look, the clothes I want to be wearing. I got the activity I want to be doing. I got all of that right here next to my desk. So you need to get some visualizations, put that stuff everywhere on your phone, on your computer, in your car, in your bathroom. Put it everywhere so that you know what it is that you want. Pictures, words, everything you need, make sure you get it on some form, in physical form. Because what you think in your mind is what you end up living out. But if you can think it in your mind, Bob Proctor said you can hold it in your hand. But whatever it is that you're thinking, that's what you're living. Okay. So that's what we want to get straight. We got a new tape that we're rolling. We got our vision. We figured out what we want, right? So then we're gonna be it.
I'm
That's what we're
taking
gonna
notes,
do
Brandy. I'm taking.
next. then we gonna be it, okay? So this is like one of my favorite steps. I seen somebody say "fake it till you make it." They say that, or Jack Canfield said "act as if." But it's my favorite thing. It's one of the steps that all of these changed my life. Everything I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, not stuff I read in a book, but stuff I wrote in a book. Okay, these
Mm-hmm.
are all the things that I had to use to change my life. So be it, right? So what would the person who's having those experiences, what would they be doing, being, acting, dressing, talking, where they go, what they eat, all those things you need to find out. And then you need to be it. And one of the things that we did is that I can't think of his name right now, but he said that want to be celebrated. I commit to being celebrated for my magnificence. Okay, that was something that jumped out at me during this time of
Say that
transformation.
again.
That I commit to being celebrated for my magnificence. Now that's a
Right.
powerful statement,
It
right?
is. It is.
From a girl who's living in a nightmare, who just want to hide all the time, who want to be covered up all the time. I mean, I was covered up from head to toe. I looked kind of like a nun all the time because I
Mm,
didn't want anybody to look at me. I didn't want nobody to desire me. So I was always covered up, right? So,
I know, right, Dominique?
whew,
She said, snap, snap, snap. So I'm like, I know, right? I am over here, snap,
man,
snap, snap. This is
man,
absolutely amazing. Listen, for the people who see me looking off in the corner, I am literally writing down this list, right? And I was going to read them back to you, but I don't have to do that because she is an author of The Intentional Woman, which she will talk about where you can find those things. But this is what I know to be true. So many of the things we hear, right? We hear
yeah,
every day on what we need to improve, but
yeah,
our success starts with ourselves. And if we
yeah,
limit our beliefs and how great we can be based
yeah,
on what somebody else says, we will forever be just that P that they
yeah,
minimize us to. Brandy,
yeah.
I remember being in seventh grade, maybe it was eighth grade, and I had this one teacher. That lady just did not like me. She did not. I mean, she was the evilest person ever. And she
Mm,
would tell me all the time I was never going to be anything. But
wow.
that is the same sort of thing, depending on personality,
Yes.
can really set a tone in a child.
Yeah.
But when she would say it to me, my response is, "I'm gonna show you,"
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
everybody is that way. And so you
Absolutely.
called out some absolute amazing things that are dead on, that are dead on. The writing is on the minds of the walls of our minds, and we've
Yeah.
never thought about it that way. And so Brandy, you are living this life of a dream. You have given us key points that they can find in your book, The
Yeah.
Intentional Woman, that you will be telling us about in just a moment. But
Yeah.
I want to take the time right now and I want to celebrate you. So, first of all, sister, tell us some of your successes. What are the things that you've manifested? What are those things that you
Mhm.
have come into fruition so that we can conjointly right now celebrate you because we are greater than whatever that was behind
Yes.
us?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
What are we celebrating?
Well, let's see. So when all of this transformation was happening, and I told you I started writing it down. Well, when I started writing it down, I thought to myself, well, maybe I'll just do a one woman show. That I just figured I'd just maybe record a one woman show. But I set the goal that I wanted to write a book. I had no idea how to write. I didn't have any author friends or none of that, right? So I set that goal. And I'm telling you, somebody I didn't even know came into my DM and said, I'd like you to be in my book. It's going to be a bestseller, and all we need is a chapter.
Okay.
All you need is a chapter. I got all this,
I got a whole
all I
lot.
got a whole show, but you didn't see it. I got that, and I remember sending it in. And long story short, she was just like, the editors didn't have to do a lot of work with it or none of that, and that was my first experience. But she wanted to kind of take the credit for that, and she didn't want to do everything she said she was going to do. So
Hmm.
guess what? Then all of a sudden, she said, I confronted her about it, and she said, well, I thought you was going to write your own book.
Okay.
I said, in the words of my a little bit ghetto fabulous, I said, you show right. You show right.
All right.
So I wrote my book. My book came out at the same time her book came out. And what did that make me? A best-selling author.
Look at God.
Within a few months, I went from not ever having wrote a book, not knowing how to write a book, to a best-selling author. And that happened to me. Then I decided, y'all, I wanted to be an international best-selling author. I had no idea how it works, what the system is, none of that. But then I manifested. Somebody else came along and said, hey, we gonna write a book for entrepreneurs. We want you to be in it, and it's gonna be an international bestseller. It became an international bestseller for one chapter, and I became an international best-selling author. So I manifested that, right? The whole time, my one of my dreams though, y'all, was to be a TED Talk speaker. That was like that was just up there for me. I'd watch those TED Talks and I would just cry as I watched them because I wanted to be one. I felt like I knew that my story was powerful enough to do that. And I figured out the way. When you make up your mind what you want to do, the universe will open up the doors. And that's one of the steps is to be resourceful, because everything you need is in the land. There's no shortage. Mediocrity is crowded, but the world to
Yeah.
success is plenty of room up there. And there's a way to get to wherever you're trying to get to. So I manifested that. They called me and I got on the TED stage and um, you know, as far as that goes, the rest is history. And I got so many other things to do and
So
that I'm believing in and
So let me, of course, stop you there and tell you, you're absolutely amazing. And
mm,
congratulations to you
thank,
for all that you have manifested and all that you are manifesting.
thank you.
Continue to do the great work. And
Yes,
I want to touch on a couple things. We're running out of time, and I
yes,
want to touch some stuff. My goal is to bring value to the people who are listening. And you said
yes.
something key. You said, I went from never writing a book and not knowing how to writing a book in its entirety. Can you talk about that just a little bit for the person that has that book in them and they
Mm,
just haven't gotten started because they think that it is a daunting task?
mm. Well, you'll find out that you have everything you need inside of you right now. You'll find out that most of your book is wrote away in a journal somewhere while you was telling yourself everything's gonna be all right. While you was talking yourself through stuff, you was writing your book. Go find those talks that you had with yourself and get to writing. And if you need some help, I can help you. Check that out on my website too. I can
Check
help you
that
do
out
it.
on the website. So speaking of checking you out on your website, Brandy, there is a book. There is a book. It is called The Intentional Woman, where they can find that list of things that you told me. There's another book. There's a TED Talks
Yes,
that is
yes.
out there. So let's start with your Intentional Woman. Tell them about the book. Tell them where they can go find their copy of the book. Tell them how they can reach you. Give them this is how you get Brandy right now.
All right. Well, I'm excited to be with you. I'm excited to share with you. And if you need, hey Tiffany, I see you. I'm so glad we was able to give you chills, girl. That means you got it. That means you got it. That your body is responding. Say, we ready, we ready, we ready. You are ready for change, Tiffany, and you are about to blow up into whatever it is that you desire. I
In
saw
Jesus'
you, and
name.
I just needed to speak into your life right there. So the intentional woman, real fast, you can find me at theintentionalwoman.net. You can find the book there. Aisha, you can find the book there, theintentionalwoman.net. And I think we'll put it in the comments maybe.
Yes, we will.
Um, the website and the book again, it goes through the nightmare. If you can walk with me a little bit through my nightmare, but I'll show you how to get over it. I'll show you how to get through it. All the steps are here. People, they read it and they be like, "Ooh, that first part was rough." But by the time you get to the steps, you don't forgot all about me, and you think I'm talking right to you because I am. And I write it like I'm talking to you, like me and you was having a conversation. One of the comments that I got back was that it was like having tea with a best friend. So that is that kind of book. That's
That's
what I
awesome.
got for you.
That's
And just one last thing I want to share with you is I
awesome.
want to share my love notes from Mama. I wrote this book during the George Floyd riots,
Hmm.
and we were stuck at home. And I was like, what can I do? How can I help? How can I serve? And when you come into a tragedy, that's what you should be asking: is how can I serve? How can I be a help to this situation? And so I got my pen out and I started writing. And these are affirmations to our kids. This is information that our kids need to know about themselves. That
That's beautiful.
culture will copy you, but you are uniquely irreplaceable. Love, Mama. Do what you love and love what you do. This is the key to happiness and success. Love Mama. And I just share little small notes like that throughout the book for moms and dads to be able to share with their babies, with particularly with their African American babies. But I have people buying it from all different cultures because kids, it's a funny thing because kids need to be uplifted. They need to be encouraged. We have to tell them all the things they can't do, but who's telling them what they can do? So those are the ways you can find me on Instagram at Dream Queen 113. You can find me at no Instagram at Bonner Brandy. You can find me on Twitter at Dream Queen 113. You can find me on the Facebook at the Intentional Woman Author. I'm like, where am I? The Intentional Woman Author. So I look forward to connecting with you, and I thank you so much for this opportunity. It has been a joy and a pleasure to be with you tonight.
So two things. We didn't really get a good picture of the love notes from Mama. You slightly held it up. So let us get a good picture of what that looks like. Yes, look at that cover. That is beautiful. Love notes from Mama. Listen, I don't have any kids, but if you talked about affirmations, that is the book to read to have an affirmation for yourself. Sometimes we have to speak to the inner child in us, and maybe it's for the little girl who didn't get a chance to hear that enough. Listen, and then the other thing that I want you to talk about really quickly is your TED Talk, because as you were going, we're getting people saying this is inspiring. They're definitely loving hearing from you. And so there's a TED Talk out there that that they can listen to get more of you. Tell them the title of the TED Talk so they can go look for that as well.
Man, that's a good question. I think you can look on you can look on YouTube and
Mhm.
just look under Brandy Bonner, and it should come up under there.
The
Uh,
Birth of a Journey. Is that the title of the?
Thank you.
I'm ready, girl. This is why I'm here.
It's called The Birth of a Dream. I think that's
Okay,
what it's called. The Birth of a Dream.
gotcha.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, no problem at all. Listen, Brandy, I absolutely enjoyed you today, and you did everything that I could imagine you could do for the audience and more. This podcast, this season, is all about being your own level up, and you have shown us the epitome of that. Thank you for your transparency and being willing to share your story. Thank you for putting out that book. As soon as we get off of here, I'm going to go run to get the book. One of my other business partners says she's going to go get it. One of my other business partners is going to go get it. And so you definitely have the support from us. We're definitely helping you to celebrate your triumphs and your victories. I loved every second of it. It was a pleasure meeting you. I am going to move you backstage as I go ahead and wrap up the show. If you don't mind hanging out for me for just a bit, we will get to it. Okay. That was absolutely amazing.
Hi,
I'm
everybody.
so excited. I am so excited. So thank you so much. I'm going to pull you down. Guys, listen, my heart is fluttering a little bit. This is season 2, and you never really know what you're going to walk into when you have these episodes. But I'm getting comments that you guys thought that this was a great series, and that is what the point is. As I said, we're going to be live before you every single week, Wednesday at 7:00, where we're going to be sharing with you ways that you can truly be your own level up. And it just starts with it being in you. It starts with you receiving the information. Earlier today, we had an amazing podcast to air, Building While Black, where we heard from 2 Black doctors who have their own dental practice. There is nothing that we're limited to doing. So if you are not already following Dropping Knowledge Network with no G on the end of dropping, you want to make sure that you do that, because I promise you that we're going to be more than committed to bringing you a season of back-to-back-to-back packed episodes that can help you with taking your life to the next level. Again, you guys know who I am. I am your amazing host, Shronda McDaniel, better known to you as Empowered with Shronda, where I want to help empower you mind, body, and spirit. You can absolutely be your own level up. Thank you for joining. This is where you can find us on all of the platforms. Of course, you can find me on my Facebook page. This is the name of our Dropping Knowledge Network. And all of these can also be found on YouTube as well as streaming later on as podcasts. There's so many different ways for you to be plugged in, to become empowered, but all you have to do is take the time to do so. Thank you guys for joining on tonight. You be safe. I love you all. God bless.